folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Serpent in the Garden, Ed Grey in the Last Battle for England, issue 3 by Dark Horse. Now, there is fighting, bleeding, swords, magic, and death in this one. So, if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So, finally, I've gotten the last issue of Serpent in the Garden. My god, this title is way too long. I'll say it again. Yeah, it took a while because it's been a while since I posted and read the second issue. But right, so when we left off in issue 2, Ed Grey and the demon, the elf demon guy, or the elf guy, were fighting. And he turned into a bigger demon pig creature. So we start this one in the castle of Morgan Le Fay, where her priest, skeleton priest, is talking about Edward Grey, a servant to his queen. Basically, telling his story in short, how he was torn to pieces in Akron, and then he was cursed with immortality, and then he became a demon in hell. That part I didn't know. Yes, and then we go on with the fight. Pig Demon Man's fighting Ed Grey in his Swamp Thing form. I mean, it's essentially a guy like Swamp Thing with all the plants, or Plant Man, however you want to call him. So he and so Ed Grey is fighting this the pig demon guy. It's intense, but pig demon guy manages to hit him pretty hard. He flies in. He flies to the ground. It hurts him quite badly. Yelling for his queen. And, wait, what was it? Oh yeah, and then in between you got the characters of the story talking about it. The last champion of Britain, what a day for both of them, Morgan Le Fay says. Yes, and then finally he's released and he has his true form. The pig demon guy. He's back to being the elf that could shift into all these big creatures. And poor Edward Grey's lying on the ground. So yeah, the Morgan Le Fay finally frees him, and he's in his final form. But then Ed Grey gets help from the whole land, where he's now a big swamp thing. Like he's as huge as Pig Demon guy. Okay, I'll keep fighting. Okay, so they keep fighting, destroying the forests down below. In between, you got the other characters talking about them, about all of this. You got then the King of Fairies, I believe, and one of his subjects talking, what happens if our champion Ed Grey loses. So he tells him, well, whoever wins, whoever loses, the sun will shine again. It will go into hiding when we must. And this subject asks him, do you believe that? And the king answers, I do. I must. And they keep fighting. There's also Queen Alice, the one that Ed Grey's championing. She's also talking to her subject, the girl with the crow. So it comes down to Ed Grey finally defeating Pig Demon guy. Because they're both tired after this long fight, but Ed Grey says, no, we must finish this. And so they fight a little more, and then he sticks his sword into his chest. And Pig Demon guy falls backwards. He's now this creature that's on the cover. and he falls down to the forest, but now he's back to his original form. He's now himself again. Ed Grey goes down as well. Now he's back to normal size, and he approaches him, and he says, I'll call him Elf Guy now. He says, this has been my best day. And he's back to himself, and before that he says, finally Merlin's curse is broken. I am free. Yeah, he was cursed to be like this by, by Merlin. I can't remember now what was it, but yeah, a curse was put on him, and that's why he became like this. And as they were fighting, Ed Grey said, I've met you before. It was during the story of, what was it? The Box Full of Evil? I think that was the Hellboy story, where Hellboy's about to be killed by this crook guy, and and the King of Fairies and Ed Grey and a bunch of others are watching from somewhere. And Ed Grey is, not Ed Grey, and Pig Demon Guy, when he was still Pig Demon Guy, is happy about this. He said, he done me so many wrongs. And he says, well, you talked about all the wrongs that were done to you. Basically saying, that was then, but what about now? The Big Demon Guy says, I am what I was, and I do what I do. Alright, now back to the battle ending. So yeah, this was my best day. And he dies. Ed Grey's holding his hand, and what else did he say to him? One moment. Oh, and then in between, Queen Alice says, Edward, come back to me. Yeah, there we go. And now he's back to himself. He's actually quite a handsome elf. Well, elves usually are. Sorry. Afterwards, he says, Edward Grey says it's over, holding his hand. And then he says, Merlin's curse is broken. I am free. And he dies. And then Queen Morgan Le Fay appears. And he tells her, and he was good, but, whoever you sent, I will defeat whoever it is as well. And she says, oh, peace, Sir Edward, peace. And she reveals that she never wanted the crown. Yeah, when she was young, maybe, but now she has no interest in it. And then, she tells him, tell your Queen Alice not to worry anymore. And so that's it. She leaves, and then Edward's turning back to being, not human, I suppose, but he's no longer a tree man. The Queen Alice's subject come, and they take the elf, and Queen Edward recites a quote from someone. It wasn't sweet. What was it? Oh, sweet prince. Was it? Or sweet dreams, oh prince, or something that's quite known, actually, I think. Or at least it rings a bell to me. One moment. Yeah, he's turning back, and here we go. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy breast. And he's being taken away, and you see the king of fairies there as well, with his head, turned down, looking, or shit, I forgot the word. Alright, and then he's leaving, and then the subject, the girl with the raven, says, do you think that, now he's satisfied, now that he wore the green, and he's been a fighting man again? And Queen Alice says, time will tell, and I hope so. And we see Edward Grey returning to the house with Mary. And that's it. Oh, I mean, that's it with him. And then we go to Morgan Le Fay. She's back in her castle. She goes into that place or the little pond with the fish is. The fish that is her. What was it? I think that was the good that in her. And she's there, and the fish asks, "Is it over?" And Morgan Le Fay says yes. And then she gets into the pond, and not the pond, the fountain. And she picks up, and she it goes lower and lower, and she holds the little fish the little goldfish in her hands. And the goldfish says, "It was a very kind thing you did for him." And the Morgan Le Fay says, "Hush now, hush." And then she disappears underwater, or under the fountain water. And that is it. That is the end. All right, so first the cover. Very, very cool. So it's got that same theme. We got big demon guy over there, looking very cool in that form. We got Sir Edward Grey in his uh, more battled, heavy tree man form, and we got the crown. So yeah, that's cool. Great art. I said this on the last two issues. So you see, there we go. We got a bit of a recap here. You see, that's when he was torn apart. That's in the form that Hellboy met him. Was cursed with to live forever, and then he became a demon in hell. Look at him. I didn't remember that one, interestingly enough. Okay, and then we go to see them fighting. This one, Pigman's much bigger. And there we go. Obviously, much bigger. He's not going to be able to fight him very well. Look at that. That's some cool action here. The art is fantastic. Well, it's got colors by Dave Stewart, I believe, right? Yeah. So, of course, it's going to be great. Alright, so that was the art and cover. Now for story. That took me by surprise. So basically, this whole story was just a chance of redemption for Pig Demon Guy, basically. Because he was cursed, and he was walking, essentially forever. Queen Morgan Le Fay orchestrated all of this, it seems, just to free him. Because I believe, in the beginning of the first issue, he was hanging from a noose. And she wanted, I forgot to say that, she actually tells that to Ed Grey. She tells him, "I wanted to give him a better end than to hang from a noose." And she did, she freed him. He may have died, but he was once again himself. The curse has been broken. That was actually very touching, and I agree with the fish. It was very kind of her to do that. She didn't have to, but man, what bamboozled us, didn't they? As you think, it's gonna be about this fight and the crown and shit, and it looks so serious, and then whoop, takes a turn to no, this was all just to free this little poor elf that has been suffering for many centuries, probably. So that was actually very bittersweet. I must say, next time I reread that story where I first met the little big demon guy when he was a little fairy, now I'm not gonna look at him the same. Because in that story, it looks like an annoying little creature, and he tries to sabotage Hellboy and ends up being eaten by the big pig monster. But after learning all this about him, I do feel really sorry for him. Because overall, he was good when he began. And then all of this happened to him. That's very sad. But also a very lovely story. Lovely that he got a chance to be free from the curse and, well, die in peace, essentially. Of course, still all very sad, but interesting. This whole concept of the world was destroyed, and this is the world after, and, no Hellboy now, it's just this, and what did the Queen mean? Does that mean there'll be more fights to be fought in the future? Will Ed Grey search to, fight again? Maybe it's something that he cannot separate himself from. Now I have, and this is a spoiler, but I have read a Hellboy Essential, not Essentials, but from the world of Hellboy. It was an Ed Gray story where I saw how he met Mary. And that too was very tragic. Now, who knows? Maybe Ed Gray's peace that he gets here being with Mary is not long lived. Not sure. But yeah, this was a good bittersweet mini series. It had really good action, some cool fighting, and somber ending, but also a hopeful one somewhat. But yeah, I really enjoyed it as always. I'm glad I picked this one up. Yeah, at least when Mike Mignola's writing it, I know I will like it much. Well, what much? I know I will like it. Because some I've read that wrote for the world of Hellboy, just it wasn't the same. Didn't have that Mike Mignola touch, but this sure did. But alright, folks, that's all I have to say. Let me know what you thought of issue 3 if you read it, and that is it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!